So I recently made a video of how I lost $10,000 on one guitar. Now here's the thing, what had I bought? I had bought PRS Private Stock. This is the PRS Private Stock in Custom 24. This is a Custom 24. In Frostbite Glow. This is in Frostbite Glow. So how is it that I lost $10,000 on that guitar, but I have made $10,000 on this guitar? Understanding this will tell you a lot about the strangeness of the guitar market. So hi folks, welcome back to the Ministry of Guitar. I am Utkarsh. Again, if you are watching this and you like this, please do subscribe. I think 85% of you who watch this are not subscribed. So do subscribe. It's very important for my encouragement, let's just say that. On to the topic on hand. I'm not going to start with this guitar. I'm going to ask you, which is the most expensive guitar that's out there that you can buy, vintage or otherwise? I hear the hands going up. I hear you saying 1959 Les Paul, burst. But you would be wrong. It is not a 1959 Les Paul. It is the 1958, 59, I think it's 58. But whichever year doesn't matter because there were only 19 of them made. It is the original Corina Explorer. These have been selling at prices higher than bursts. And it's a very, very good reason for it. Bursts are, of course, very, very rare. But, there are a few hundred of them. I think close to even 1,000 roaming around. For the Corina Explorer, the original one, there are less than 20. And therein is the point, which is price is correlated to demand and supply. So while the burst is much more iconic compared to the 58 Explorer, it is much more iconic. I mean, 58 Explorer, later Explorers with James Hetfield and all had an impact, but the 58 Explorer wasn't really played in such popular music. But it is from the golden era. It does have future cultural impact, and it is much, much rarer than the burst, hence it's more expensive. Now, what does all of this have to do with the guitar that I'm holding over here? Firstly, let me tell you what this guitar is, and I'll get into how this relates. This is a 2016 PRS Custom 24 8-string Mark Holcomb. Well, it's the Mark Holcomb model. I don't even know if they called it the Mark Holcomb model. They just called it the August guitar of the month. It has 8 strings, obviously. There's something else to do with the number 8. There were only 8 of these made, 8. Now that is of course an absurdly low production number. Now you might think that an 8-string guitar is maybe not historically significant, maybe it doesn't have cultural impact, but there are 2 or 3 things to recognize. One is that extended range is and did become a thing and is likely to stay a thing for a long period to come. That's number one. I'm not saying it's going to be as big as 6-string guitar, but it's definitely a thing. Extended range guitars made by PRS are very, very rare. In core PRS, they make 7-string SE versions. The 8-string is even rarer. So you have 8 of these, and then you have, literally you can count on your hand. There's a special one. There's the original of this, which is Mark Holcomb's own guitar. There's a special one they made for Tosin Abasi. Then there are maybe 4 production models actually built, maybe 5. Definitely less than 15 overall, 8 plus whatever. So the production numbers on these are very rare and they've stopped making it. They refuse to make it anymore because PRS is, this is one of their things where they experimented, but they decided to stick to 6-string. And this guitar is not as obscure as you would think because when it comes to modern music, Mark Holcomb and Periphery are very significant. I'm not going to call them the Rush of this generation or the Dream Theater of this generation. That would not be a fair comparison. But fair to say, modern guitar, gent, technical stuff, technical rhythm-based playing, Periphery are the OG. And there are many Periphery fans out there. They've been there for many years and they're likely to be there for years to come. So in that context, if you have a only 8 of these available, suddenly this becomes a very, very desirable instrument, definitely today because you can't get it, and definitely think 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years down the line. So that's what this guitar is. Now let me tell you little bit a story of how I got it. All of what I told you was on my mind when I got it because I got it a while ago. I got it before the guitar market went to, we all know what happened to the guitar market about a few years ago. So when I got this guitar, few things were strange about this purchase decision. Number one, I did not play 8-string guitar. I barely played 7-string guitar. But I had this sense that I would eventually pick up 8-string guitar because I had started playing 7 and I was really, though I hadn't fully figured out how to play 7 at that point in time, it was really suiting me. It was like opening a door that you never knew existed, and then what you found behind it was perfection. Because I love the extra range both for ambient music as well as heavier music that I play. So I knew that an 8 would probably be on the radar, even though this one's baseball bat slash size neck is really intimidating. So I had a sense that I would get it. Secondly, the time period I got it was around, right in the middle of the COVID pandemic. So it was in a very uncertain period. The person who I got this guitar from was asking for $6,000. It was a decent price. At that time, that was maybe about what used PRS private stocks were going for. But it was a lot of money to put down in such an uncertain economic environment. So it was a massive leap of faith that, one, I would eventually play 8-string guitar. Number two, I am not shooting myself in the foot by forking down a huge amount of money at a time when the world is in an uncertain place. So I took those 2 leaps of faith. As it turns out, it did not take very long for my leap of faith to pan out because I did immediately start playing 8-string guitar. And for me, I'm a PRS player. So I knew that if I was to ever want an 8-string guitar, I would want a PRS 8-string. I'm just so used to the Custom 24. So, eventually, even as a player, I would look for this guitar. And I have another one. So out of the 15 PRS 8-strings that exist, I have 2 of them. So that's a little bit maybe selfish of me, but so be it. I do play them. So I knew that. The faith, the hunch that I would eventually play 8-string and I would want an 8-string was perfectly panned out because I did start playing 8-string and I really like this guitar. Secondly, the demand for this guitar, my God. Because these are so rare and they rarely pop up. There was one that popped up on Reverb a while back and it sold out, I think, almost immediately for about 14 or 15,000 US versus 6,000 US. So this is where the 10,000 comes from. So the difference is about 8 to 9,000 US or 10,000 Singapore dollars. The guitar, by the way, that I lost money on was also 10,000 Singapore dollars. So that's where I used the 10,000. So the demand for this thing is crazy. So I have gotten so many messages saying, hey, are you selling one of your 8-strings? PRS 8-strings, will you sell it to me? Let me know when you sell one of your PRS 8-strings. And I always have to say, guys, firstly, I'll play them. I like them a lot. I play the other one more. This one is more historic, only 8 of them, as you can tell. But yeah, I'm not selling them. So what's there to be learned from this exercise? One would say that buying an expensive guitar can be silly or stupid. Or an expense, but really, depending on the circumstance, it can be quite the opposite. Comparing this to the other Frostbite Globe PRS private stock that I bought, that was a brand new guitar, a very highly spec guitar, but not of any particular cultural significance. This guitar was used, so it was priced lower than it was new. Tremendous cultural significance, one of the only PRS 8-strings Mark Holcomb of pedigree. So therein lies the difference. If you buy a new expensive guitar that is beautiful, amazing, like many PRS private stocks are, expect to lose money. If you buy a used guitar that has some significance that you can anticipate, there is a high chance it will retain its value or actually grow in further. Does that mean I'm encouraging you to buy guitars just for the sake of the money that you can make from it? No, absolutely not. The purpose here is just to know that sometimes, very rarely sometimes, we guitarists are a lucky bunch, so very rarely we can have our cake and eat it too. I wanted a PRS 8-string. I got it at the right time. So now I get to enjoy this guitar, and I know that the value of this thing is only going to go through the roof over the years as People who are periphery fans, they go from the 20s and the 30s to the age that baby boomers are today. So yeah, so it's a good place to be in. So don't go buying guitars just thinking that you can make money from them. But sometimes if you really like something and you can see an angle by which it'll retain its value or grow value, take the leap of faith, put in the money, get the guitar you want, and enjoy it. All right, this is all I have for now. Till next time.